Continue my reviews of the Captain America films leading up to Captain America Brave New World that's set to release this Friday coming out, which I'm looking forward to. So we'll continue on with the sequel and the best one in the bunch of the Captain America films. That is Captain America The Winter Soldier, directed by the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe Russo, and the writing team of Christopher Markus and Stephen McFeely. The plot follows Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, along with Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff, and Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, must uncover the truth hidden within S.H.I.E.L.D, but also battling a new dangerous enemy who's also known as the Winter Soldier. This came out through, I think it's Phase 2, I believe, Phase 2 of the MCU Infinity Saga, after Iron Man 3, Thor Dark World. While some are pretty much mixed on Iron Man 3 and most are either unfavorable with Thor Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier has a lot of hype surrounding it, so this could be the probably go the best way or the bad way, but it ended up being one of the best, if not the best sequel, outdoes the original Captain America movie, which I honestly thought the first Captain America First Avenger film is very underrated, in my opinion. But Winter Soldier is arguably the best in the trilogy. Maybe so Civil War as well, which we'll talk about that soon enough we'll get to that. But this, in my eyes, arguably the best in the film series so far. I will start off by the acting. The acting all around is absolutely great. I think everyone pulled it off 100%. Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, Captain America, he gave his best performance. I think this is where he actually fits the character very well. He get more comfortable with it. I think this is his best portrayal as the character. I think this is his best performance. You can actually feel his performance throughout this entire movie, and especially the one scene that stands out the most is him interacting with the old Peggy Carter, played by Hayley Atwell, with the makeup. And his performance there, if you watch that performance alone, especially when he says, "I could not leave my best girl," not only with that dance I promised her, something along those lines, but the moment he gives that line, it fits it. You can actually feel his emotions and his transgression toward Peggy. It's just a very beautiful moment. I really felt that from Chris Evans' performance. If there was an Oscar performance, I think he deserves that to show his performance. He's showing he's a capable actor. He's not being like the typical Chris Evans type of guy, but he shows he's playing the character. So his character there is really good. He definitely has a lot of stuff going for it. And of course, Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury, great as always. His character here is really, really interesting because he's always not been honest with Captain America or Steve Rogers, because there's so many things he kept secrets from him, and especially he knows about what's going on. Which there's just all this stuff about this film is about mystery behind S.H.I.E.L.D, what's going on, because you don't know what's behind it all. So this is a mystery thriller type of film this is going for. This is all, espionage thriller. It's just the way this tone is. I think this is what it's going for, is the mysterious tone for the film. Nick Fury in this one showed Steve Rogers about this program called Project Insight, which is basically targeting threats before it happens. So there's 3 S.H.I.E.L.D hair carriers going up in the sky to eliminate all the bad before anything happens. And, something about it doesn't feel right for Steve. And when the whole thing from S.H.I.E.L.D. started to fall apart during the movie, there's something's going on behind what's going on behind the scenes. So you can tell there's stuff is going on, who to be trusted, who's not to be trusted. And of course, Samuel Jackson's not in the movie that much, but we do see him, he's there, he does give a good performance, and what do you know, he does, quote unquote, get killed off by the Winter Soldier, which we'll get to in a moment, and you don't see him till just near the climax to the film, he's alive. Basically, he was just somewhat faked his own death, but deep down he's alive, so he's going to pretend he is dead, but he's technically alive still. And of course we have another untrustworthy person, is Black Widow herself, Natasha Romanoff, played by Scarlett Johansson. Great as always, and she teams up with Captain America in this one after post Avengers, the first one. Her character, she just has her own moments. She does show her character shine through, because how she faced about S.H.I.E.L.D. after the whole fall from S.H.I.E.L.D. because the Hydra start to rise up, which, well, minor spoiler her, Hydra is basically influenced S.H.I.E.L.D. Basically, Hydra is behind S.H.I.E.L.D. the whole entire time, and basically is influenced by them. So because by Dr. Armzola, who's basically, or his intelligence or his brain is in this computer database where he shows Steve and Natasha with this all information has to know about S.H.I.E.L.D. and how Hydra is, rising behind the scenes of it. It's just, about this film, it just adds so much detail to the story. It just felt so complex. But back to Natasha for the moment, because her character, even though she's there to bounce off of Steve, especially with the whole, maybe there's a girl you like, or from the statistics or the reception, why don't you ask her out because she's single? But Theodore's like, no, mission to do, find me a date later. So it's just, you get that funny part. It's basically saying both of them bouncing off one another, but that's the whole thing going for it. But you can tell that there's a good character growth in this film. There's a lot of good character growth. And of course, I really like this new character, Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is probably my most favourite, probably the fan favourite now. I think he's grown much as a character ever since post-Endgame. You start to see him becoming that character now, what we've seen from this era of the MCU, which is so great to see this character. Every time I see Sam Wilson, he's just one of those characters I really liked. Honestly, if you watch this now, even post-Endgame, you can see how his character went from this to now, especially the upcoming Brave New World, which I'm looking forward to see where this goes with his character and him becoming Captain America. But he was a Pal Legion, and he called his superhero alter ego the Falcon, and becomes Captain America's sidekick throughout this, the next two films, and of course the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. But he's a Captain America's right-hand man, but he does show us a bit of character growth. He has some funny sarcastic one-liners, but he does have his moment to shine, and you see his character grow throughout this film. And of course, we have Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce, who basically the secretary of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he's actually Hydra, which he's basically his leader behind all this with the whole Project Insight. So Robert Redford, great actor. I think he definitely gave a great performance. He definitely shines his character. You do see him start off like he's just a normal secretary of S.H.I.E.L.D. or old director, but he does show his true intentions behind the scenes. And of course, he basically wants Captain America dead because he blames for his death of Nick Fury, even though he's behind it. He knew the Winter Soldier killed Nick Fury. So, which we get to now, which we do have Winter Soldier himself, and spoiler alert, it is Bucky Barnes himself, played by Sebastian Stan. I've got to say this now, Bucky in this film is probably I think this is Sebastian Stan's best performance as Bucky Barnes, as the Winter Soldier, because he doesn't get much dialogue, but you do see him lurking in the shadows, and you do see him wearing the Winter Soldier suit, especially the mask and the goggles he wears in the film. But the moment you start to see the real face, and of course, it's one bit in the scene where he's in Alexander Pierce's place or his house or his home, where he's hiding in the shadows in the dark. You don't see his face. You kind of know who it is, but you can see it from the lighting in the dark, which I really like in detail. You kind of give audience attention to, like, who is the Winter Soldier? I know comic book fans will know who the Winter Soldier is, but as mainstream audiences who never read the comics or never into it, it's kind of like a mystery about the Winter Soldier. And of course, when you do see Bucky's face, and Steve's reaction is completely, shocked or in denial that I was his best friend, Bucky, as the assassin. And of course, Steve believes that he's still good inside, he still have that Bucky in him. Because the moment when Bucky says, or Steve Rogers says on lines, Bucky? And Bucky replied, who the hell's Bucky? And then, of course, before he gets brainwashed again, he starts to remember what happened to him. So you kind of know how it all happened, how he survived from the fall, from the First Avenger. You start to see, his character realizing, wait a minute, I'm this guy, I'm totally him, I know him. So it's basically, he's kind of knowing who he is. And the climax of the film, and of course we do get a flashback when, back in the 40s, or back in before World War II happened, where Steve went home after he went to his mum's funeral, and of course Bucky said to him that, I'm with you to the end of the line. And of course, at the climax of the movie, we do get that emotional payoff where Steve says, then finish it, I'm with you to the end of the line. And you can see Bucky's face before he gives him the big final punch to kill him off. You can see his face going, I said that line, I know you. He doesn't say that dialogue, but you can't tell his face, you can go tell, wait a minute, I do know you. You're Steve. It's kind of show you that he's there he's ready to kill them all, but you do realise he does rescue him at the end, which is a nice emotional payoff, and you do get some good justifying moments with the character, and I absolutely loved. The action sequences in this film are incredible. I think they're really top-notch action, from the very beginning shot to throughout this action, especially the highway fight scene in Washington DC is absolutely incredible. One of the best action scenes, especially hand-to-hand combat, especially with Captain America versus the Winter Soldier. It's cinema. That is just beautiful fight there. Cinematography wise, just beautiful, great shot. It's all directed by the Russo brothers. The Russo brothers in this film directed this film so good. Basically what we saw from Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame, they're just topping themselves with the great action sequences, set pieces. And I think these guys know what they're doing. They have so many great action scenes. And I can't wait to see what they could do with Doomsday and Secret Wars, which I'm definitely going to see what interesting how they do this. Oh yeah, and Harry Jackman's score is absolutely beautiful, especially with the Winter Soldier theme. Oh boy, that was a lot of tense to that music. Just beautiful score. And of course, the visual effects are really great. I really love the visuals. The cinematography wise looks great. It's all top notch. There are maybe a couple of noticeable ones, especially at the climax of the film. You kind of know it's CGI, but I kind of think some nitpicks. It's just a tiny little, some of it could be noticeable, but for the majority of it, it kind of works. I kind of let it go. It works very well. It serves the story. And all these characters, there's quite a few characters, but they do have their standouts. There are a few side characters like Emily VanCamp as Cade's Agent 13, who also known as Sharon Carter, who is Peggy Carter's niece. And of course, her character went from this to Civil War and of course the Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm kind of curious to know what happens to her after Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm kind of curious because there's a little thing about her which is kind of a little bit off, but I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to follow up even after that, but we'll see. We'll kind of see how it goes. But she's not in the movie that much. She does have her moments, and of course you have Frank Grillo, who is basically Rumlow, but I think that's his name, Frank Grillo. Yeah, who plays Rumlow, who comes Crossbones in Civil War. Just definitely a minor character who's a side villain, but he also becomes a side villain in Civil War, which you get to in the moment. It definitely has some great moments. There's so many great scenes go through this film. There's so many great characters and stuff you could go through for this movie, and this film delivers. I honestly think this is the best sequel in the Captain America trilogy, and I'm looking forward to talking about Civil War. Civil War is my favourite, but this one is definitely up there as one of the best MCU films. And every time I watch it, it gets better on details. You can notice some few things you didn't catch before the first time you're watching it. It's just everything about this film, it works. What a sequel works, developed, and definitely improves upon the original film. This is arguably the best Captain America film I've ever seen in the MCU. I'm going to give Captain America the Winter Soldier an A. Guys, tell me in the comments down below, what do you think of Captain America the Winter Soldier? Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you think it's alright? Do you hate it? Whatever the case is, comment down below and tell me what you think. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Until next time, see ya!